Hello, welcome to the SEESCast. I'm your host Joe, and I have the usual suspects for this unexpected episode about robot characters in video games. Because some people had the audacity to have a job and not be unemployed.
Yeah, we're not continuing the 6th gen console discussion today, so just kind of had to find
I
something
still don't
else.
know why we're. I still don't know why we're continuing the discussion. I'm pretty sure most people got most of what they wanted off their chests.
Not really.
I mean, I didn't.
No, we haven't talked about like Xbox or GameCube at all, and that's kind of a huge deal.
Oh damn!
Wait, you mean there were systems other than the PS2 that generation?
Yeah, we kind
There
of just
really weren't. There really goddamn weren't.
So, hello, folks. My name is Scrappy Fan 92, and Joey referred to myself and Harry as usual suspects. I think usual kidnapping victims would be more accurate.
yeah.
Careful what you say. You're on camera.
We're being held at gunpoint right now. Please be careful.
You know, with great new developments in weapons technology, I don't even need my gunmen in the same rooms. It's all thanks to this fascinating device called an anti-materia rifle.
Mm.
So anyway,
Our subjects for today are about those sentient artificial life forms, sentient mechanical artificial life forms. Wait, if you're a life form, then you're sentient by default. Great start, Scrappy.
Ah!
About those sentient mechanical creatures we call robots in video games. They've been around as long as video games have been around, really.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about them.
indeed.
So how do we
So-
want to start about what do we want to talk about first here? Because I'm kind of just going loosey-goosey with this one.
I mean, I could legit solo it just by talking about one game, but I think we should give other people a chance to talk today.
Yeah, I generally don't know what I have to say about this, but like I'll just like see what happens.
I guess we can discuss, everyone's first encounter with a robot in video games. As far as I can recall, my first encounter with them were the lab assistants in Crash Bandicoot 3, who I did not know were robots at the time. I thought they were just creepy glasses-wearing men who just wore random disguises.
Honestly, I thought they were clones.
Isn't it like kind of different what the lab assistants are depending on the game? Like sometimes, like Crash 3 makes it seem like they're robots or clones or something, but like Crash 1 or like Crash 4 or whatever, it seems like they're individual people. So I don't really know what the deal is with that.
Wait, Crash a murderer?
Maybe.
Quick, call Fox News.
Huh!
The reveal of the lab assistants being robots isn't really confirmed outright until Crash 3, and that's technically not something you would know from just a standard playthrough. You have to go to the secret warp room to learn that.
Yeah.
Still debatably canon. Honestly, I have no idea what my first robotic experience in a video game would be.
Yeah. I mean,
Because honestly, I wouldn't count Crash 3 because like you just don't know. I really have no idea what the first would be.
Yeah.
As far as I can recall, the first robot character who I knew was a robot from playing was probably the character Robo from Eggmania on the Xbox. That's a blast from the past right there. So, yeah, for those who have not played Eggmania, well, it's a puzzle game where you play as sentient eggs, and Robo is a Robo. Got a little wind-up key in his back, and yeah, really cool design. Much like all the characters in Eggmania had like short character cutscenes where they would kind of display their personality before you fought them in a versus match. And Robo's was kind of gained sentience and self-awareness while on the assembly line, so he just broke out.
Yeah, I
Because of,
guess like
puzzles.
not technically a video game, but like, I guess my first exposure to like cartoon robots that I can think of, are like, I guess Scratch and Grounder from the Sonic cartoon, but like, I don't know.
Maybe? I mean, hell of a stretch here, but are Bob the Builder's fucking clearly possessed construction machines technically robots?
In the same way, Speed Buggy is a robot, I suppose.
I bet. So in which case, Lofty is basically the first fucking robot that I'm aware of.
Wow.
As the Dark Mechanic just freaking possesses Bob the Builder's machines.
You could do some Five Nights at Freddy's stuff with that whole concept.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm surprised why there isn't more Bob the Builder horror.
I mean, give it
I
time.
think looking
People
looking
may...
into his eyes is, I think, is horrifying enough.
Oh, looking into the modern freaking Bob the Builder's eyes, they're even more lifeless than the puppet.
Uh-huh.
No, this is not the brainstorming Bob the Builder creepypasta topics podcast.
Unless you want
yet.
it to be that.
It could be.
We'll save that for October.
Huh.
You know what? I absolutely will.
Oh god.
So let's see. I'm trying to think of other robots you remember encountering in my youth.
I can think of one.
I mean,
Uh.
stuff from Rapid Cortex. I guess I presume the lab assistants. Obviously, I presume some of the other enemies were robots.
I'd say more
Um,
the one level where you're playing as the loader.
Oh, the mech thing?
Yeah,
Hmm.
the aliens reference.
Thing that was promoted on the box and it sucked.
Yeah, and you didn't even get to it as a kid.
Yeah, I didn't get to it as a kid because Water Crunch was a pain in the ass.
Yeah. In hindsight, no, he's not that bad, but like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think actually of like robot characters. Like stuff that I knew early on.
It was a game I played with a load of cyborgs in it that I shouldn't have even seen in my entire lifetime. On top of that, the game is niche.
Hmm.
There's a PS1 game called C12.
Hmm.
This game is not recommended for people of the age of 4. Also, just not a good game.
Well.
I have some early, I guess, demographically inappropriate robot encounters as well. Okay, yeah, I'm one of those kids who just played Mortal Kombat as a youngin and somehow did not kill squirrels.
Neat.
So, one of the characters is Cyrax, who debuted in Mortal Kombat 3. He returned in the Alliance, which is the 5th game. And yeah, he's a cyborg, not a full-on android, but I did not know that at the time. So, like his whole body's covered like head to toe.
Am I an android too?
Duh.
Like he bleeds oil instead of blood. So
Real.
you think, yeah, I thought he was cool. I liked his move. He just dropped a bomb and just made everyone flying. So yeah, that's one of my early robot exposures. And then yeah, there's the entire stuff with Mega Man Battle Network, which could be an episode in and of itself.
Yeah, I'm not like really in a position to talk about that stuff because I don't know Battle Network too well. But I mean, Mega Man in general, like you can just do a whole episode of that whole series about this.
From what I've seen of Battle Network, it's dumb.
In what sense?
I've seen some of the writing.
It is very silly from what I've seen.
It is poorly translated. I mean, like, 4Kids dub translation.
Hmm.
Okay, first and foremost, 4Kids dubs were occasionally more clever than people gave them credit for. I have
Jelly
not played.
flavor is my favorite.
Huh.
I have not seen. I have not played any Battle Network games for about 20 years, but I
I
watched the anime. I watched
I
the anime on occasion, which was not done by 4Kids.
Hmm.
I will probably never touch it because Mega Man just isn't my game.
I mean, that's fair, I guess.
I mean, they don't play like Battle Network does not play like the other Mega Mans.
I
Yeah.
think the most Mega Man I've played is like a little bit of Mega Man 2 at a sleepover, like way back. You remember, Harry? You were there. Anyway,
I do not remember you playing Mega Man 2.
yeah, because you were asleep.
Okay. Yeah, I have. Well, this. Yeah, this is. This must have been back when we were in high school, cause
It was high school.
Yeah, I have no. Dude, those sleepovers are a complete blur to me. I don't remember anything about them.
I just remember it. I just about remember it being the first time I watched Star Wars.
I do remember that because that was like a big
Also,
deal.
you ruined your life that late in life. Okay.
I'm still ruining my life. Give me some credit. I'm spacing it out for the next 30 years.
Spacing it out, huh?
Funny. What was I talking about? Oh yeah,
Porn.
the other experience I had with Mega Man was playing X7's demo.
Oh, lovely.
That's fun. Very fun.
The best game.
I remember the demo being Red Mega Man and running through fucking Zanakin, in the process of it being destroyed by Sin,
Gah.
I
and a
understand
bunch
feeling.
of text boxes which I skipped over and have no memory of, and no fighting or anything.
Wow.
Top tier sales tactics.
I mean, X7 is like one of the worst games, isn't it? So.
Neat. There was no hope for me ever liking it.
Try X1 or X8 at least.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what with Battle Network, my first exposure to Mega Man, I think it might have been. I probably just saw like him on box art when I went to like a store, probably from like the anniversary collection.
I never really got into Mega Man until like way later, and even then, I'm kind of a more of a casual fan, if anything. Like I didn't play any of the games until like the Wii U. So yeah, my knowledge on Mega Man is a lot more limited compared to a lot of other people, I guess. I like the series though, but I don't know.
Well, what I will say is that I appreciate just kind of seeing the kind of different interpretations of, I guess, the idea of a robot hero throughout the decades. Just go from the mostly Saturday morning cartoon antics of the 80s to the more Dragon Ball Z-ish era of the 90s with Mega Man X to the it's more shonen anime inspired Mega Man Legends, and then Battle Network just like has them as I guess amplifies them as more digital creatures than like full on I guess tactile robots, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like yeah, they're doing a lot in Battle Network.
You know, in
Yeah.
hindsight, robots really aren't that used in like sci-fi. Because why use robots when you can either make a statement on corporations and capitalism, or you could just throw aliens at people?
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking, like, when you mentioned Star Wars, I was thinking, like, stuff like that. We have, like, R2-D2 and C-3PO and all that.
Grievous!
Grievous, yeah. Well, I mean,
Grievous is cool.
he's not a robot technically, but still.
If you only watch the movies, you wouldn't know.
The thing is with the movies, like they don't really say that much about him. He's just kind of a thing.
He's there for like 4 seconds, and it's great.
One moment, please.
Well, just gonna quickly watch Star Wars Episode 3. General Kenobi. Hello there.
So I'm generally like trying to fit like the most of the games I played before I like got into stuff like Sonic or whatever. A lot of the stuff I can't really think of many robots that were in the games I played, so I'm kind of drawing a blank.
Yeah, honestly, I'm drawing a blank as well.
Like, I don't know, the freaking robot scene in the Incredibles like movie game. I don't know.
What, the Omni droid?
Yeah, that and like some other random like mini bosses, I think. But like the yeah,
Oh yeah, because there's like the flying disc things, and then there's like the tank.
yeah, those things.
Yeah,
There has to be.
most...
What's that?
Go on.
No, I was gonna say. I was just gonna say. There has to be that. Like, there has to be like other things I'm forgetting, but I'm just.
Most of the robots I recall encountering in games from my childhood were usually just kind of mostly mindless, mass-produced mooks, or like
Yeah.
suits that people controlled.
Yeah, like other like enemies in Sonic games, obviously, like they make good enemies and whatnot, and like stuff like Metal Sonic and all that, or like the more like character centric robots. But I'm really trying to think hard of stuff.
Omega, that's his name.
Omega, yeah. I'm really trying to think hard of stuff outside of Sonic though, because that's like kind of low hanging fruit.
I have high hanging fruit.
But like, yeah, Mega Man is also like the obvious one. I kind of wish there were other people here that were more Mega Man enthusiasts, because I feel very
We are not the people for talking about Mega Man,
exactly, yeah.
and no one else showed up.
So
I mean, I have a decent enough understanding of the lore that I can at least name a good deal of the robot masters and whatnot, but I guess I could expound upon that for the uninitiated.
yeah, please do.
Okay, I mentioned Mega Man Classic kind of just being like a Saturday morning cartoon. That is technically true, but I guess if you look underneath the surface, there is a bit of I guess, a dark undercurrent to the proceedings of their stories, which will come to a head in the later sub-series. But I believe, what is it? The framing device for the original game is that Dr. Albert Wiley and Dr. Thomas Light were partners who worked on six robot masters who were supposed to kind of help humanity, mostly with construction, just general, I guess, humanitarian stuff. Wiley was jealous that Light was getting a lot of the credit, I believe, and so he stole the six.
Light Yagami?
Moving on.
So you know it's good.
Moving on. Wiley stole the six robot masters from Dr. Light and basically reprogrammed them to wreak havoc. So Dr. Light programmed his robotic son, who for some reason he has two robot children.
Yeah.
Programmed his robot son, Rock, to become a super fighting robot who will fight for was it everlasting peace?
Something like that. Yeah, because Mega Man was like originally supposed to be like a household robot, like just not meant to be designed to fight. Like he was reprogrammed later to be that.
I think he was a lab assistant, and a role was their glorified maid, which is
yeah.
Kind of screwy. You have your daughter doing that. So yes, Rock gets an upgrade, becomes super fighting robot.
Mega Man.
Yeah.
And yeah, thus begins a long trend of Wily getting defeated and bowing, begging for forgiveness
And then
over and over and over and over and over again.
and then supposedly some tragedy happens, and was it the gap? There's just the gap between the classic series and the X series, and a lot of
Like
stuff that we don't know the full details of, and probably won't ever be explained because it's I don't know, kind of bit dark.
I'm trying to remember. By the X series, I think robots have, well, I think they've grown more numerous, kind of evolved to get a bit of human themselves. At least, or this that happens later. They basically revolt against humanity, and that gets pretty ugly pretty fast.
Yeah.
And they kind of sow the seeds of that in Mega Man 9 or 10, because we learned that the robot masters, or at least some of the ones that are built, have basically built-in expiration dates, so planned obsolescence for sapient creatures.
Yeah. I do think that
And
is interesting because like the classic series doesn't usually go that much into story stuff. Like it's kind of just stop Wily from doing stuff. But like I think Mega Man 9 or whatever it was talk about the whole robots have expiration dates, and that kind of makes you question some things because like um even Mega Man and Roll would have that, so it kind of just makes things feel a bit like, I don't like this.
then 10 and 11, as far as I know, do not even bother to address that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh gosh, like it's an interesting progression from like sub-series to sub-series, but yeah, I've never been a big fan of like the canonical endpoint of the classic series just being death and failure.
Yeah, like the thing with the X series is that the old guys, from what I've played and know, like they're not really remembered or acknowledged at all. Like just all the stuff that happened is just like kind of swept under the rug, I guess. And it
I mean, it's
The
in
X
good history by
series
that.
is like the Legend of Spyro series.
well, it's in the same universe. It's just like
Wait, Mega Man X and Legend of Spyro?
no, not no. The X series happens like way in the future, I think. But it's like it just makes you question like what happened to um the old guys. Like are they just like rotting in a grave somewhere? Like I don't know.
Bartending.
It's just
I
kind
do
of
know that
a downer ending for them.
it is. I do know that Mega Man X is the final, as far as I know, the final creation of Dr. Light. So
Yeah.
Rock Light's legacy is maintained to some degree. And then Zero, ironically enough, was the final one of the final creations, anyways, of Dr. Wily.
Yeah.
So I think Wily did become a little more, I guess, regretful of his actions towards the end of his life, I think.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of it is still kind of ambiguous.
And it likely always will, much like the War of 1999 in Castlevania, probably not getting a full, I guess, run through of what happened between each series.
Yeah, the thing about the Castlevania thing is like, I think in some random spin-offs they've talked about like, oh, the events that happened, like, and it's like super crazy, and it's detailing stuff that happened in a game that just doesn't exist. It's like, bruh.
It's like between Castlevania and Resident Evil and formerly Street Fighter, it was like they were just jumping around a timeline so often. I was just getting like, get on with it.
Yeah, and then the thing with Castlevania is that some games are just rendered non-canon, like canon now. Like I know, was it? I think Laws of Shadows are just that's just supposed to be in AU, which is fine. But then, stuff like Castlevania 64 and all that, and other games that I don't know the names of right now, I just like removed from canon because it just contradicts things or whatever. And I don't know. I just yeah, it's just kind of.
The first I've heard of Castlevania 64 being non-canon.
I could be wrong. I remember hearing about something like that. I think it's like a case of different writers being and publishers, or not publishers, like different um directors being on different pages. Like some of them actively wanting to write the games with the intention of like serving the entire series like story, and then there's other directors that just want to make a standalone thing, and like that can kind of clash sometimes if you aren't like on the same page.
Indeed. As I mentioned, robots and the X series being a little more humanoid, if not in biology, at least in like general appearance, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of. It really depends. Like, what is it? Like, they got. I'm trying to remember like what the names of the good robots in the X series were. Reploids.
Yeah, is it like Reploids? I always get those like confused. Is it like Reploids and Mavericks? Like Mavericks
Mavericks
are
are
the
the
bad
bad ones,
guys, right?
and those who take them down are the Maverick Hunters.
Okay.
Yeah, they're robots. Just some of them are, I guess, more human than the ones we saw in the classic series. Some, like, I'm actually trying to think of outside of like. It depends, because then you got like Chill Penguin. Like most of the Mavericks are very animalistic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the bad robots are more animal based in contrast to like the robot masters from the classic series, which are at least vaguely human. And then there's a lot of stuff like the Zero and ZX games, which I have very little knowledge of the plots of, but something
Yeah.
called the Wars happens, and it's just a whole mess. And then you jump to Legends, which is its own thing.
Yeah, what is it? Zero. I know nothing about the story in the Zero or ZX games, but I think those are like after the X series, right? Like,
What as far as what we consider like timeline A, it's like what classic X, Zero, ZX, Legends, which is just it's in that timeline, just very distant from the rest, like a distant future.
okay. I wasn't sure if Yet Legends was supposed to be like a separate thing entirely, or like part of the same universe. I know Battle Network and Star Force are supposed to be like completely separate universes, aren't they?
I believe they're like a branching timeline from classic.
Okay.
It's basically, I think that as far as I know, I think the conceit of Battle Network is what if Wiley basically turned over earlier in life, and
Okay.
I guess went back to focusing on helping humanity, and that's kind of led to a not utopia, but I guess a more technologically advanced society where humanity didn't get like nuked.
So we have the normal timeline that goes for X and all that, and then we have the Wiley turns good sooner. So are we gonna have the Mega Man gets defeated timeline as well?
Mega Man
Probably
gets
not. He
defeated
wouldn't be
timeline
so
with
mega
X.
then. Actually, isn't X the Mega Man got defeated timeline?
Basically.
No. Well, technically, but like, we don't really know the like what exactly happens between classic and X. Like, uh, you need to.
Taking the I guess if you want to take the Archie comics at face value, fairly certain X, one of the Maverick Hunters anyways, finds like Rock Light's abandoned helmet buried in the ground, so make that what you will.
Yeah, that's depressing. Yeah. I guess I take. It's important to take stuff like comic adaptations, um, with a grain of salt because they usually take a lot of creative liberties and aren't always representative of what is part of like the game continuity. But it is interesting to think about, regardless. Wiley never turns good. He just calls it quits and goes silent. Add some cleanup. I mean that also makes sense, because like the Light and Wiley are like old men, so like it's very likely at a certain point they just, you know, stop going so crazy with making a bunch of robots and stuff and have to you know, settle down, I guess. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think
Neat.
about it.
I think there was a solid 5 seconds there where we could have all thought about it.
I just don't know what else to say.
I have not. I haven't had a clue what to say about this. For the second it went on to Mega Man, I was like, shit.
Yeah, I mean
and
we can move on to another series or something, because like this is definitely not a strong suit.
Yes, welcome to the We Talk About a Subject We Don't Know Anything About podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
So anyway, let's talk about Metal Arms glitch in the system. And by we,
yeah, let's talk about Metal Arms glitch in the system.
By we, I mean you, Joey.
Yeah, just
yes,
go off on one for a bit.
Mint. So, Metal Arms Glitch in the System is an amazing video game released in 2003 for multiple platforms that unfortunately flopped with a very interesting development history. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk directly about the characters. In Metal Arms Glitch in the System, you play as Glitch, a robot found it. Well, yes, you end up in the system, deep in the system, basically guerrilla warfare. You are found in a rotting tower in the wasteland by a couple of droids deep into the war against the mills. You are basically tasered back to life and have basic software installed directly into you. And also some other weird stuff that is never explored, and the game series is never getting a sequel, and I will never get answers to questions I have, and I'm very sad.
Damn, that's a mood.
Because you got mysterious markings on the back of your head that are very similar to the markings found in the forbidden ancient cities at the core of the planet.
And it's never explained?
Yeah, never explained.
Does the company ever even exist anymore?
No, this is part of the super interesting backstory of the game. So the game barely got released at the last minute.
Wow.
Yeah. Because the company were desperate to get funding to make the game, and then still had to find a publisher after they made the game. And Vivendi said yes, but they basically died the day after anyway. It was basically one of Vivendi's last games. Yeah, so after the game got released, the company got bought out by Blizzard. Blizzard got bought out by Activision. Activision Blizzard got bought out by Microsoft. I am never seeing a sequel to this game.
And Microsoft got bought out by...
Don't do this to me. Because I've been tracking this since 2008. But yeah, after the game, after the company got bought out and the IP basically is just in limbo. The developers got put into the World of Warcraft mines to develop World of Warcraft expansions.
Lovely.
I think it was Burning Crusade at the time that they ended up developing for. You know, anyone that actually stuck around.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game is great. You play as a little yellow robot that looks different to everyone else because you're some sort of custom jobby. And yeah, you immediately get thrown into a combat scenario. And then watch your friends die horribly as they're blown up on a bridge.
Wow. What kind of gameplay is it?
Third-person shooter with platforming elements.
So, Ratchet and Clank?
What opinion on that?
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Ratchet and Clank is a thing. I mean, that's not a childhood game.
Lots of robots in that childhood game for me.
Yeah, I mean, I played that series way later, so that's why I didn't really think about bringing it up until now. But that's a very big one.
Yeah. Metal Arm's glitching the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally talking about this. Yeah. Anyway,
Every time huh?
Is it on Game Pass, Joey?
no.
Damn.
You used to be able to buy it on the Xbox 360 digital marketplace. That doesn't exist anymore.
Every time I've seen Metal Arms, I just think this is just a Joey game. Like I can't believe Joey actually made a game.
It is. Oh no, I traumatized Lewis by proving that I'm not the only person on the planet that knows it exists.
I remember this. You talked about this once.
Yes. Yes, I did talk about Metal Arms glitch in the system more.
Wait, actually, is that Alex?
It might be. He knows I'm live on this podcast.
Oh no. I haven't.
Alex played Metal Arms glitch in the system. I introduced it to him when he was a kid.
Dude, I haven't talked
And he
to
remembers
Alex
it
in
as
years.
the cool. He remembers it as the cool robot game.
Huh? Hello.
I don't think he ever actually played the story.
Hmm.
But yeah, the game has so much goddamn character.
Mm-hmm.
Opening the stream so I can see what he's saying.
He just says, "Hey buds, Metal Arms glitch in the system is the go. Hey Harry."
It is absolutely amazing.
Isn't Alex also like huge right now?
What?
Like he's like.
Oh yeah, he's like 7 foot tall.
Yeah. Like the last time I've seen him, he was like slightly shorter than you.
Yeah, and now he's like 7 foot tall. He's gonna he's either gonna agree with me or he's gonna correct me.
Yeah. Huh.
Oh, I misclicked. I shouldn't be here.
Oh what?
Hi, have you ever heard of the greatest game ever, Metal Arms glitch in the system?
The hell?
Folks in the audience, we introduce you to ND Ultimate in their brain, whatever our podcast name debut.
Yeah, imagine I just crashed through the ceiling by accident. I meant to get to get to C's HQ.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolute. You're not even in the right Discord, let alone the right chat.
Oh.
I know. I just saw C's. That's it.
Oh, this is great.
Top tier content.
So you're gonna be, and we're gonna see you on Storytime this week, right?
No, I would love that. 'Cause I would love that because it's genuinely been a while since I've been on it. But yeah, no, I got finals.
Good luck.
I don't even know what Storytime is doing at the moment outside of the project.
I swear somehow Storytime has become less
Returned.
consistent than this.
Storytime returned.
I mean, what is Joe maxing anyway? What are y'all doing
That's
right
just we're doing a podcast.
I think Nova changed the name of the chat or something.
No, that was me. What happened is that I just keep seeing you alone in the chat for ages, so I just nicknamed it Joe Maxing because I thought it would be stupid and funny.
You know, when you did that, I saw it immediately and moved into recording too.
Yeah.
But now I'm owning it. I'm Joe Maxing.
Yeah.
Joe Maxon, it's catchy.
Yeah.
It just makes it funnier with your image as well.
So anyway, the thing that I've actually wanted to say all stream, instead of joking around and going on to still sober but still technically somehow drunken ramblings, although I haven't even drank for like a week. I wanted to talk about my favorite character in the game, Moser. He's in the game for approximately 15 minutes of screen time, including the level you play as him in. He is absolutely friggin' massive. He has a double-barreled rivet gun for one arm, and the other arm is holding a goddamn iron girder.
Damn.
And he uses it as a sword and just wipes all of the enemies away. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's voiced by Patrick Warburton.
What game are we talking about?
Metal Arm's glitch in the system.
Oh, right, yeah, you just said that. I'm stupid.
Yes.
Mhm.
Zero
The first
sympathy.
The Joey game.
The Joe game, 2003.
Yeah, that's something else we need to talk about with Sixth Generation. Just 2003
2003.
existing.
Oh god,
'Cause,
2003 having every game ever.
Like, not even just that, like a million things happened that year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I look up what happened in 2004, since that's my birth year.
Yeah.
I was 5.
And then I find out, oh, Halo 2, like Snake Eater, Half-Life 2, San Andreas.
Yeah.
You know, something about that sounds wrong. San Andreas and Half-Life 2 coming out in the same year.
Yeah.
Dude, change the battery in your smoke alarm.
Yeah. Oh man, even when like it's rooms away, it still comes in.
I will not say what I want to say because it may be considered incredibly offensive.
Yeah.
I've lost track. Anyway,
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. This is a interesting episode.
The internet currently has a term for the smoke alarm beep at the moment, but it could very easily be considered as extremely offensive. So I'm not saying it. It's funny, but I'm not saying it.
No comment.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ratchet and Clank.
Sure.
Clank is a good boy. He tries very hard.
Clank
Yeah.
is absolutely the best.
And you know, he's a secret agent. He doesn't afraid of anything. Respect that.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ratchet and Clank 1 probably has the best writing in the series.
It is pretty good. I definitely really
I'm on it.
Oh, great. I definitely really liked the story in Ratchet 1. I just like the bond between Ratchet and Clank. I think it develops really well and very naturally throughout the series. Like, I've only played the first 4 games so far, but like just the trilogy alone is just, yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah, original trilogy is just amazing. The second trilogy is weird because I don't know what it is. after a certain point in time, Sony's major platformer IPs had this complete inability to make a second game in the series.
I mean, it kind of happened with Crash and Spyro as well. Like, the you had the original trilogies, and then after that, they kind of struggled to reach that same like level. I guess. Like, I'm not saying
I
like
mean,
all the sequels were bad or anything like that, but like, um, there were complications. Let's say.
with Crash, they made the trilogy, and then they made a fourth one, and then at least they actually made the fourth one. I'll get to my point in a minute with that. And then they just did a load of goddamn weird spin-off expansion like games. With Spyro, they did the main trilogy, and then they did a lot of spin-off stuff. Uh, debatably made a fourth game.
Mm.
And then they made the edgy, we're going to rate our games with film ratings rather than Peggy ratings. And the second game debatably doesn't exist, whether you've played it or not.
I just heard the second Legend game is just really poorly designed or something.
It's like a level long. It's like I swear the game's like 2 hours if you drag your feet.
Hmm.
Legends 3 is amazing though.
I am interested in Legends 3. That actually looks like a good game.
I believe I have it digitally on my 360.
I forget that's the only standalone
Spyro,
game.
Tale, Hero's Tale. No, we don't speak of Hero's Tale. It didn't happen. It doesn't exist. It can't hurt you.
Yeah.
We're not relitigating this.
We already had this conversation the other week.
I forget that Dawn of the Dragon was the only standalone Spyro game on the PS3.
Yes, Dawn of the Dragon is the third of the Legend series.
Hmm.
Are you talking to me or someone in the Twitch chat?
You.
Yeah, I didn't question it being the third part of the trilogy.
Yes.
Joey, can you hear me right now?
I can hear you. I just doubled down on the fact.
Moving on. So, yeah, all right, I don't have much to say about Ratchet and Clank because the first game is the only one I played to completion.
Yeah.
And it does remind me of another PS2 game, though, War of the Monsters, which does have.
Oh yes, War of the Monsters.
Does have at least one sentient, I think, robot in its roster.
Yes. I played the demo where you could only play as the eye guy and another one.
Yeah. Let's just say, like, before you go more into that, I just want to say, like, I do like how the first Ratchet game, like, they're not exactly buddy for a good chunk of it. Like, they're pretty at odds with each other, and I like to just build up with their relationship. And you know that Ratchet's been a douche, but you want to see where things go, and I think, you know,
honestly,
yeah.
A lot happens between the end of Ratchet and Clank 1 and the first level of Ratchet and Clank 2.
Yeah.
Because you can't even say the beginning of Ratchet and Clank 2 because there's like a 2-year gap where Ratchet goes through intense corporate commando training.
Yeah.
And Clank becomes a movie star.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty good.
I mean, credit where credit's due. Megacorp does a lot of different, like they've got their fingers in every pie,
Mm-hmm.
from television to video games to intergalactic weapons of mass destruction to bioengineering super weapon. Yeah,
Although,
it's an intergalactic corporate entity, of course, of course.
although apparently
What else do you do with all that money?
Secret Agent Clank game is pretty bad, from what I understand.
It's still better than Spyro 4.
Not a particularly high bar to clear, but
No, not really.
I've not played the Ratchet games from High Impact Games.
I have.
And are they decent? Are they bad? Are they okay?
Ratchet, Secret Agent Clank is incredibly forgettable. Size Matters is very hit and miss. I liked it. I recognized the problems with it, and they are glaring.
Mm-hmm.
But think about it at the time. It was Ratchet and Clank portable.
Yeah.
It was the closest thing you were getting to a portable console-style Ratchet and Clank experience.
That was a big deal back then. Like getting those kinds of games in portable.
The difference between Size Matters and Lost Frontier is Lost Frontier was just bad.
No.
Oh wait, I have a question.
What's
Yes.
Your thoughts on Daxter?
Oh yeah.
Daxter's actually good.
Yeah, I was obsessed with like this little demo of the game that my uncle had in his PSP. Or I'm not even sure if it was the full game or not, but I played the heck out of it. Like I just know it was Daxter.
Mm-hmm. I would like
Yeah,
to try Daxter at some point. That actually seems interesting.
Daxter is what Secret Agent Clank wanted to be.
Hmm.
So I'd say the parallel companies did both approaches for both series and got the opposite games right.
Yeah, I mean, Insomniac and Naughty Dog were always very buddy and like, how was it? Seeing like they were like right next to each other, weren't they? So they always like were aware of what the other person was doing or what the other company was doing.
As far as I know, they shared offices when they were both working with Universal, and not sure about what happened when they were technically free agents during the PS2 era.
Mm-hmm.
They still yapped.
Oh yeah, they definitely were definitely kind of keeping tabs on each other and doing little nods to each other.
Although by the time when they got to Jack X and then the Ratchet and Clank team heard about Jack X, they were like, wait, they're actually making a kart racer?
Yeah. And then cue the jokes of how.
Oh yeah, I think most companies were at the absolute peak in the 6th gen.
I think it's like it's just the generation where developers could still make a bunch of games within like a timely manner. Budgets weren't ballooning. We didn't have HD development yet, so it's like.
They also tried.
I mean, that's a bit disingenuous. Like, developers still try.
That's
like,
incredibly disingenuous.
But like,
it's more of a case of the company that owns whatever studio didn't expect the moon from interns.
Yeah, I think the problem is that like the higher ups like expect like if it doesn't sell like 2,000 million, then it's a failure kind of thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I think if a AAA studio today made a Pixel game, it would sell probably like 8 times more and also be 8 times less in cost.
Yeah.
And depends on the the pixels, that stuff can be expensive to do, at least time consuming to do.
That's down to your artists. The actual game code will probably be pretty simple behind the door. It'll allow for feature bloat in a short time as well. Which is a double-edged sword. It can be good, can be bad.
We're talking about robots. I forget.
We're supposed to be talking about robots.
I'm not even sure what this podcast even is anymore. It's just.
Well, welcome to the... I was going to say the title of the old podcast.
Brain block. That's what it is. Brain block.
No, the other one.
Yeah, Brain Block was the old one.
No,
What the hell is
the
this, then?
other. What? This is the third one.
Yeah, we've done 3 of these.
So what's the name of this one? I already forgot.
SEESCast.
SEESCast.
Generation 3.
And
Are you saying the 6th generation of our podcast will be our best?
We are not rebooting this 3 more times.
We're not
Oh my
coming up
God.
with 3 more goddamn names for podcasts.
No, we are not.
I give up.
We're not talking about the movie.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to, because I know you're gonna rant about it.
Oh,
I don't even fucking remember the movie.
what, the robots movie? Wait, what?
Ratchet and Clank movie. most
Oh,
likely.
okay.
Oh, we're not talking about that either.
Because Nova just said the movie called Robots by Blue Sky Studios. I do remember that movie, actually.
That movie is amazing, and that is all that needs to be said on the matter.
There is a lot to be said about that movie. That's its own podcast, and I also don't want to watch it.
I have
Again.
like no. I mean, okay, no, that's disingenuous. I do remember it, but like even then, like I barely remember anything about the plot or the characters. I do remember watching it, but like I have yeah,
In short, I think the plot is capitalism bad.
fair.
Remember the Sly Cooper movie? Where the hell happened to that?
Oh right.
Do you remember the Spyro movie? Whatever happened to that?
Well, that was supposed to be based on the Legend games, right? And then just got
It was
canned.
supposed to come out and coincide with the releases.
What I
mean,
understand about
Sly
the what I understand about the Sly movie though is that it was supposed to that was just supposed to be a proof of concept, I think. That wasn't actually supposed to be a trailer for an actual movie.
Hey, when are we getting the Metal Arms Glitch in the System movie?
Well, wouldn't that be something?
It would be so good. If they stay true to the story, that film would be so amazing.
Yeah.
Probably when the Geist movie happens. No.
Do wonder
Sims movie when?
Do wonder what other video game movies would actually work.
Yo, we could make that an entire podcast topic.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Oy. So
Put it in a back burner.
We'll put it on the back burner as one of our when people don't show up for something we actually need them for topics.
Yeah.
So
I
World
do think
Monsters.
there's something to be discussed about what the Zelda movie could possibly be like in terms of.
Oh
time.
yeah, that could be a whole thing.
Oh, that movie's ending with Miyamoto himself coming out and saying you have been invited to the Smash Bros. Initiative. Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Like I personally believe that there's two camps to be had with the movie. Either it's going to be an original story like every other Zelda game, or it's going to adapt the Zelda game specifically.
If it adapts anything, it should be Breath of the Wild.
I feel like it's very possible it'll just be a original story, but I feel like it'll.
Well, excuse...
I feel like it's possible that it'll probably adapt a lot of things from mainly Ocarina, I imagine, because that's a very simple story to.
That's the Zelda game for a while. lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine like that's a simple story that's probably be very easy to expand on more without going into like too crazy territory.
He's like how I say it. There's no way they can just simply adapt NES Zelda. Like it's way too simple.
Yeah, as NES Zelda is too much of go out and explore and find stuff, and that doesn't really
I just
work.
picked a
And there's
wild
not much
spot.
to see. Like
Yeah, like that doesn't really work as well. I I think some stuff with Breath of the Wild could be adapted into a film, but it would be um I don't think the main gameplay part can really work too well without massive changes because like you know, a
I feel
movie
like
can't just
the one
be
would be like
oh Link just walking around Hyrule for like 10 hours. Like,
yeah. I feel like Breath of the Wild would be like a it would be a multi-hour movie. Okay, like because there
yeah.
would be multiple moments of Link silently traversing and like it'd be very artsy and then only for it
Yeah.
to be like way more dialogue having other segments.
Yeah. I like the I forget who said.
Honestly, I'm just done with Disney and anything they output at this point.
I don't know who came up with this idea, but I do like the idea of there being like some kind of like dungeon montage or whatever. Like that stuff probably won't work as well being like played like fully in a movie form. So like something like a montage of Link just going through these puzzles or whatever, and whatnot could be one way to do things, I guess. To just acknowledge that part of the series without just, you know, spending too much time on it.
Well, whatever the movie is, he has to go through 4 dungeons and fight Ganon.
But yeah, well,
And Princess Zelda has to ask him like real nice.
Something
So
they
many
could take
robots.
to- oh,
Yeah, robots.
great
Imagine.
podcast. We've already hit an hour, by the way.
Bet.
Okay.
Anyone
now
play Titanfall?
I played
I
Oh,
played-
Titanfall 2. I played that. That's a really good
Yeah,
game.
that's actually a good game.
Yeah.
Absolute bromance with your machine.
Yeah, you actually gain like a good bond between it. It's very nice. You know, the character you play as doesn't really talk that much though.
Yeah.
Like,
To be fair, he's in the middle of a goddamn war zone on his own after he was almost certain he was killed on the front line. And he's
Yeah.
basically borrowing another pilot's freaking mech
yeah.
whom died on account of the fact that, yes, you did go through pilot training, but your character didn't pass pilot training.
Yeah, I just find it funny because near the end of the game, the villains or whatever, the other guys just keep talking smack to you, and your character just stays silent, like he has nothing to add to any of it. It's like, okay.
Bro's honestly just absolutely pissed at that point, so he's just going to be like, the second that I can move, I'm going to blow your brains out. Because honestly, at that point, it's not about what the character's saying, it's about your emotions and what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, your friend, the only companion you've had through all of this hell, as you basically just face tanked a lot of problems. He's just died before your eyes, but for all intents and purposes, sacrificing himself to give you a gun and a knife. Just so you have even the most remote chance of getting out alive. Not even to finish the mission, but you do it anyway.
Yeah. What, Chad?
Absolute Giga Chad. There's a reason why people just absolutely lament the end of that game series. I mean, I couldn't tell you a single thing about Titanfall 1.
No, I mean, like, that game didn't have a campaign at all, did it? It's just multiplayer.
I mean, it had a story tied to multiplayer Brink style, less spoken about Brink, the better.
Mm.
Thanks,
Also
computer.
pretty-
I really appreciate you giving me an update for my graphics card.
Yay.
Maybe my monitor will turn back on tomorrow. After a month. Machines, technically relevant. Computers.
Yeah.
In regards to robots and robot games, God, I could rant, or I not really rant, more like rave for an hour about the about the Wally video games, like all three versions of them.
There's Wally video games. That's like, next you'll be telling me there was an Up video game.
I mean, there
That's it.
was.
And I also
No,
played-
that was a joke we made in high school where we mash the A button and you win.
I didn't. That was such a dumb joke.
It was fucking funny.
Okay, I've never. I don't think I've like. How much do you remember of that? Because I feel like I've tried to explain this story before, but I don't think I've.
Okay,
gotten, like,
so
the full details.
we were discussing button mashing and movie adaptations into video games, and at the time they were awful. So we basically came up with the idea of like, oh yeah, if they ever made an Up video game, you just mash the A button on insert console controller here. Yes, you mash the A button on your PlayStation 4 at the time, and then you just win because you mash A to get the house to fly, and then you win. And then the game just plays the entire goddamn movie. And the more I say this, the more in hindsight it sounds like we just designed in our minds a goddamn Tiger game. Not a Tiger game, Phoenix game.
Yeah.
Again, the less spoken, the better.
I know we came up with this multiplayer mode where like you had to, the person who mashes fastest wins, and it's like it's just a
Yeah,
bunch
it's-
of the flying houses just bumping into each other and breaking all the balloons.
It's literally just Tenkaichi when you're both throwing a Kamehameha at each other. But like more painful.
Yeah.
House
With like tasers. Yes, the Up video game taser add-on. Plug it into your controller, and when you lose, you get tased with 10,000 volts.
The thing I do remember is we were watching Up at school, and then we were just like, yeah, you had to mash the button to walk to the mailbox.
Oh yeah, because like half of that film, you could literally just add a button prompt of mash A onto it. And because most of the film is just the characters moving. Which is pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
Mash A to have a heartfelt conversation with the kid about your dead wife.
Wow. Jesus, man.
So anyway, robots.
When you really, okay, yeah, I could go on about the Up game, but right, the Wally game.
You absolutely could.
I think it's a very interesting case, right? Because so there is in the HD version, the SD version, as I would call it,
The
with DS
HD version of Up the video game.
I mean, okay, I'm talking about Wally here, but
Okay,
yes,
we're actually on robots. Got it.
like I mean, are you giving me this chance too? Because I would love to talk about the Wally games.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to hear it because I don't know anything about this.
Okay, so the HD versions are PS3, 360, and Wii, while the SD versions are PS2 and PC. Yes, the PC didn't
Oh
get the
no.
Huh.
PC inferior race, am I right? Yo, got him.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? So,
Damn.
oh yeah, the DS version is the DS version, but
Absolutely giving, if the teacher is late for 15 minutes, we get to go home.
like, but for the longest time, I didn't realize there was a difference between because okay, I was a kid who owned both a PS2 and a PS3, and for just some reason, I own both PS3 and PS2 Wally, which were different games.
Hmm.
And I was so young at the time that I didn't realize that games could be different if played on a different generation. Plus, it didn't help that my PS3 was PS2 compatible. But both.
Oh,
games
you
are
had like
very
that
similar.
PS3.
Hmm.
Yeah, my family was pretty early to the game on PS.
Damn.
The £500 overheatinator.
It, because both games are similar but different in certain ways. Like, I would say both have like a similar thing of it being kind of puzzly. You know, with you make blocks with trash and stuff. The
Neat.
HD versions take it to a more like yeah, they're way more physics puzzle based, which makes sense. They had the technology. PS2 could not do this.
Yeah, that makes
Instead,
sense.
I mean, you still make blocks, but you throw them and they like destroy it on impact, or like they pre-programmed to like slide or whatever. But in exchange, it has a momentum system. Wally has momentum.
Oh.
You have like a little indicator on the UI of like how fast you're going, and like there's some puzzles that involve like gaining momentum to like Tony Hawk off of ramps to reach places you couldn't get to just by walking on the ground.
That's pretty good.
And there's mock
Yo,
speed
Wally pulling off the nasty Nork for real.
Sonic Wally crossover game when?
like the PS2
Sonic
version
and Wally
also-
at the 25 Olympic Games.
there's mock speed sections in the like the SD versions because of this momentum mechanic.
Oh my god, that sounds insane.
Dangerous in the craziest way too. So like, I'm not sure. I think in the HD version it's just a cutscene. Like you still get the tutorial level, but it's a cutscene. In the PS2 version, you get your tutorial where it's like it's before the events of the movie. A bunch of other Wally units are still around,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden, like at the end of that tutorial, Sandstorm comes in, and you realize, oh, this is the moment every other Wally unit fucking died.
Damn.
And you get to play through Wally's perspective of him escaping the sandstorm into that like and being like the only one to get to the containment like thingy at the end. And it just time skips to when the movie begins. So the movie never showed you all the other Wallys dying, but the game does.
Yeah, wow, okay.
I feel like
I
that's
don't-
something that was animated and Disney would like know.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, did you know that the whole thing behind Wally getting made in the first place was all of the Disney animators basically going, "We want to make a silent animated film," and then Disney finally going like, "Fine." After making, I think it was like the last 3 blockbusters, they're like, "Yeah, fine, you're allowed to do it. Screw it."
Yeah.
And then halfway through making the film, they were like, "Wow, this is hard."
Hmm.
So I'm guessing that's probably around the point where the film stops being a silent film and starts being freaking fat humans in space.
Yeah, because like there was a good chunk of it was just a silent movie, and then yeah.
Or at least very sound effects.
Yeah. I should give Wally another watch. I've only seen that movie once.
Oh, it's a great film.
The reason why the momentum is needed in the SD version, like in the HD versions, you can properly jump. Well, in
Mm-hmm.
SD, you need the momentum.
Mm.
Eve gets her own levels too, in the SD versions, because right, it's not just PS2, it's PC also.
Yeah. What would
It is like this-
you consider was the better version?
It's hard to say because there's parts of both that I like.
Hmm.
Like the levels in the HD versions, of course, generally look prettier unless you're playing like the Wii version, which is like it's the HD version, sure, but like it's still downgraded.
It's like the HD SD version.
Like yeah, HD SD.
HDSD, that's
levels,
pretty good.
levels are generally prettier in like the HD versions, and like, and right, yeah, Eve's levels in SD they're just like you're basically just given like a long hallway to fly through and dodge
Mm-hmm.
obstacles. While in HD you get like these big expansive open world things where you just like fly around and shit.
Yeah. The different versions of games is just really fascinating.
There is a multiplayer, by the way, but
Oh,
that's just more
wow.
like a versus mode. You're I forget which version gets this, or maybe it's both. But you play it, and it's both players are Wally with a gun, like with Eve's ripped off arm as a blaster.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You're just told to blast the shit out of each other. That's the multiplayer. There is no co-op.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. There's also some others. They turned some other moments in the movie into like these specific like space shooter segments, especially the PS2 version. Like the scene of Wally entering space by holding onto the rocket, that became like a little segment where you're like they use Wally's like laser like thing as like an actual ability he has, and yeah, he uses laser to blast asteroids, which I don't think his laser was that strong in the movie. He just used to like open a refrigerator once in the opening scene.
I don't even remember him having a laser.
Yeah, no, there's like this tiny little.
Yeah, he has a gun. It
like
he fires it like once and blasts himself like 10 miles backwards. But
Yeah.
no, I'm talking about like when he finds the plant in the refrigerator by like and he opens it by like superheating it so that it melts. Like that's the laser I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah, again, I have to watch the movie again because I don't have any memory of that.
Yeah, but like overall, you just get two gameplay styles with both characters in both versions, including the DS version. Right? Haven't even talked about the DS one.
Oh, is that
The DS
another
one, they went for
different?
the
yeah.
DS version of everything is going to be like ludicrously different.
It's good. I assume like
Yeah,
it's gonna be like a 2D game or
it,
something.
it's puzzly. It has 3D graphics, but
Oh,
it's a top down like it's a top down thing where you kind of just like moving Wally in like in a segmented maze to the end, and you have to do like
okay.
certain mechanics to like move. And you also have some Eve segments in there too, where you fly down like a hallway.
Neat.
Something interesting about the DS version because I found this out like only semi recently.
Mm.
Uh, okay, no, never mind. No, okay, so I was yeah. So we got the DS version. It barely has music like at all.
Oh,
It like it has sound effects, but it is a silent as hell game.
that's different, I guess.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess that
crazy because most.
works.
Like, yeah. It also goes for like a very unique like art style. Like it's cell shaded in a way.
Mm.
Huh. I mean, you do see a lot of that on the DS.
Yeah, like it like for a lot of the movies like 2D artwork, which I'm sure we're I definitely seen the art style in some Wally adjacent material, but like yeah, they go for like a cell shade like pop out look. But it's definitely like and all three versions of the games like of Wally I would say are very underrated like licensed games.
Mm. Yeah, it's not always nice to find like diamonds in the rough because usually those kinds of games aren't really held in super high regard. But um there's usually like you find like the diamonds in the rough that like licensed games that are actually pretty good. Um and yeah, that does that does sound interesting.
Yeah. My history of like Disney licensed games has been very lucky. I did not come across any bad ones
Mm,
somehow. As someone living in the like Wii, DS, PS3 era games.
yeah.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack is shared between the SD and HD version. It's super good, very underrated. Like genuinely, it's a really killer soundtrack. They don't just straight up rip stuff from the movie.
Hmm.
Like some little things, yes, but like the most like 98% of the soundtrack is original and it's genuinely really good stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, we've been going on for about an hour and a half, so we could wrap it up here, unless someone else has something else to talk about.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't know what stuff you guys were talking about before I came in.
Oh, we
Uh,
were just talking about Metal Arms glitch in the system.
yeah, that and Ratchet.
Talk about Mega Man at all?
We tried to.
We did.
We tried to. We very inept in talking about that. We tried.
Damn, I should have came here early. I have a lot to say about Mega Man.
I mean, I have been saying for days when and where I needed people, so you know. But it's been nice having you.
Yeah. I mean, we
Yeah. You know what you guys do is I'd be down to hop in more on this. This
Yeah.
Look at the
this episode's
chat.
unplanned, but I like this.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's every other Friday,
Well, it tries
roughly
to
2 hours ago.
It tries to be anyway.
Yes, it tries to be every other Friday 2 hours ago.
Um, I mean, uh, I mean, there is Sonic. I guess we haven't really talked about that, or I don't know what you'd want to say about it.
Omega's
Wait,
pretty pog, yo.
Yeah, I like Omega.
Gamma's theme pretty good, and I like
Yeah.
how it transitions cleanly to betas.
Metal Sonic's pretty pog, yo.
Yeah.
I feel like Dark Rayman is just bad Metal Sonic.
I mean, Dark Rayman is barely a character.
Yeah,
It's just kind of
just-
a.
he's the Metal Sonic trope done wrong.
Well, it's pretty much just a random like stage hazard or whatever.
Yeah, a literal wall of darkness deleting the world would have been a more interesting enemy than Dark Rayman,
I don't know. Well, I like the idea just from a gameplay
and it would have had the same effect.
Well, I mean, from a gameplay perspective, I do like the idea of like an enemy copying your move, so you can't like backtrack too much.
Yeah,
Dark Rayman basically just ends up just becoming the cosmic clones.
Pretty much.
Dark
It's
Rayman
like
is not a robot.
it was just a costume.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Sonic generally just has like good robot designs and like characters like Metal Sonic and Omega are fun characters.
I mean, Sonic just consistently has good writing.
Uh,
We're not talking about that game.
that it depends on the game. That's like that's a very complicated topic.
So was this about robots, like robot games, or just robots?
Just
general?
robots in
Uh,
general,
We
really.
were supposed to be talking like our favorite robots,
Uh,
and then I was the only person that could name a single robot.
I mean, I don't know if I have like an answer about favorite robots. How can we forget Jamal or whatever?
Who?
Uh, I do like Emerald.
Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot.
True, yeah.
Video games.
Uh,
That's probably the limiting factor because, like, 5 minutes into this episode, I was like, you know, in hindsight, movies and television do robots way better than video games.
yeah. I mean, the
Jenny
thing
from
is,
Ruby, one of the best characters in Ruby, which
Yeah.
doesn't say much, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
yeah. The thing is, a lot of the time, robots are just kind of the random mooks. So it's like you can only really say so much about it for the most part. Like there's like you have your stuff like Clank and all that, but
2B.
yeah, stuff like
I
that.
just
But
woman looks through my looks through my files. The only other one I could say is like a really deep cut thing from 2008 internets.
yeah. I mean, we could just we could either expand to TV and all that, or we could just start wrapping up, I guess, because I don't know. I don't really
I'd
know
say-
what else to say.
I'd say
Oh,
wrapping
okay.
up's probably the play.
Yeah.
And then if we wanted to touch this topic again, then we could do it properly with media.
Yeah.
That seems fair enough.
Yeah.
And it gives me another option for when something inevitably goes wrong again.
Although I think if we do have another episode where we need to stall because we don't get people for the 6th gen thing again, or like,
4 weeks.
or
I'm
otherwise,
fucking calling it 4
Uh,
weeks.
I like if we don't get that or like another episode where we need certain people and they don't show up, like we could do the whole what games would make good movies. I wouldn't mind talking about that.
I don't mind talking about that either. That sounds like it'd be really fun.
Yeah, there's a lot you could say about that. But do we want to start wrapping up then?
I'll see why not.
Well, in which case, seeing as I'm really tired because this podcast that I hosts at a time where I struggle to be awake to host this podcast that I host.
Oi!
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. Woo! It's not 3 a.m.
It's not.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
3 a.m.
Oh boy.
No, it's not 3 a.m. It's like freaking at least 150,000 miles to 3 a.m. Anyway,
Okay. It's an interesting way of phrasing that.
to the east. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been the SEESCast. We hope you enjoy, and we'll catch you guys next time.
And if you don't enjoy, we will find you and kill you. Bye.
I will turn you into a robot.
Goodbye.
Good old roboticizer.
Take care, everyone.